Hey Mosaic Souls, welcome back. So I wanted to do a quick vlog, just kind of telling you what I've been up to recently. So I've finally been, over the past today and yesterday, been taking sort of a mini sabbatical of just doing nothing. And it kind of started with just my car, my brakes needing to be fixed. And so me sort of being trapped by my car because I use my car to make money and all this other stuff. And so I've used this as an opportunity, waiting for a loved one to come help me out with fixing it later on this evening. But I was like, this would be the perfect time for me to just sit my ass at home and do nothing, because sleep deprivation doesn't heal on its own without me making a concerted effort to get more rest. So I have been sleeping a lot today. I think I went to bed at 2 a.m. last night and woke up at 2 p.m. today. Well, I woke up a little bit in between there, but then went back to sleep. But yeah, it feels really good. I feel a lot better. I'm still eating some breakfast here, some tofu and toast and my regular green smoothie. But really brunch, I guess, because it's 3 p.m. that I'm recording this. But yeah, I've just been resting and rejuvenating. I've had no desire to paint over the past couple days, but I did manage to get some sketching in. I mean, when I tell you that sleep deprivation, boy, it will kick your A, okay? I've just been so tired. And yeah, so it's been really good to finally just kind of get some rest and get my body back to, I don't think you can recover the sleep debt, but you can. The body does have a way of slowly compensating for it over time, according to the internets. So I've been trying to sleep in and just give myself grace to just kind of do whatever I want to do, honestly. And I just felt like turning on the camera today because yeah, I've just been wanting to lean more into my intuitive way of living, because I'm like, my body is so intelligent, my intuition is on par, so I'm not gonna ignore it anymore and beat myself into a pulp. So yeah, that's basically what I've been doing, allowing myself to rest more and relax more and all of the things. And so yeah, I have had an opportunity to sketch a little and sketch out some ideas that I would like to turn into paintings. This might be one of them. It might not be one of them. I don't know if it's too bright, but it's sort of a fairy out in nature. One of the sketches. And had some really interesting dreams too. And the latest one that I'm definitely wanting to turn into a sketch is this one. So I'm definitely thinking about turning this one, I'm planning on turning this one into a painting, a mixed media painting. And yeah, I have a whole theme behind that one. I was just sketching out some of myself yesterday. I think I saw another artist, and tried to copy their sketch just for learning values and shading and stuff like that. And that's why I really wanted to do this one, because I really like, just black and white pencil and just learning values. It's all about values and edges, man, with art. That's really what ties into painting. And then of course you add color. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on. It's been definitely a long time to come in, me finally getting back into the energy of finally feeling like using my calendar. I bought this calendar, I think in February, or I don't know, and I haven't really used it since March or so. I don't know. All I know is March or so is when all of the craziness behind the scenes of my life that I don't feel comfortable sharing on the internet started happening, that caused me to start having sleep deprivation really bad. So I haven't been using this calendar. I feel like when I look at my April, that's completely blank. I wrote down some goals for April, have not used this calendar since March. Yeah, so around March is when I stopped using this, because it's just been crazy. And then yesterday I felt like inspired to like use it again and started checking some things off of all the things that I'm doing. So it's not that I haven't been doing anything, it's just I haven't been using my calendar. And I like using a calendar because it helps me to see like at the end of the year that like I've accomplished so much, done so many things. Like I'm a checker offer type thing person. Like when I do things, I write things down and I like checking them off. It gives me this little mini sense of satisfaction. Although one of the things that I've definitely been excited more about is wanting to not just do this, but like fill up my life with more things that bring me joy, and giving myself grace to like rest more. This mini sabbatical has definitely been it. I never got to take that like mini sabbatical that I said I was going to take back during my birthday. I should have taken myself on a vacation, like I said I was going to do, but I didn't. So I think I might be taking a vacation probably in August or so. But yeah, I just definitely need some like good week of like vacation. And this year I definitely need to like go out of out of the state. It doesn't necessarily, yeah, I definitely want to go out of the country too. I ain't gonna lie. I want to go out of the country at least once this year, and then out of the state. I thought about doing like a little road trip once I get my car situation fixed up. So I was rewatching this movie that I had watched like a year or so ago, and that caused me to write this like whole like bucket list of things. And I've written a bucket list long time before when I was in like my 20s. I need to go back and look at that bucket list. But it inspired me to recreate or like update and rewrite my bucket list for my life, and like basically a life list. I remember like when I was 21 I wrote a bucket list, and I don't even know what I have to go back, yeah, and look at that. Because when I first, yeah, okay. I just found it. I'm so glad I keep things on like Google Drive, because now I can go back and look at things of what I want to do. And anyways, in this bucket list that I've created, it's about like really re-enlivening myself and re-enlivening my life so that I can feel like more passionate and like more alive in general. Because this past like, I want to say probably about a year or so, I haven't really been like enjoying my life. You know what I mean? I've gotten into this funk of a state where I've been sort of a hermit, and I need it. It's not even a funk. I wouldn't call it that. Like 2025 was a necessary hermit year where I needed to go inward and just be in this energy of like uncovering, unpacking, unconditioning all these things in my psyche, in my mind, in my belief system, in my patterns and stuff like that, so that I can get on board with the version of me that I want it to be. And I think a lot of people don't talk about this. Like in order to like create the life that you want, you have to like psychologically be the version of you who is able to hold the capacity of your dream. And so I think prior to last year, I wouldn't have been able to carry the like weightiness of the visions that I've been receiving since I was a little girl. And I think because a lot of that had to do with societal conditioning and things of that nature that I hadn't yet unpacked. And so since last year was a huge like undertaking of me like unpacking a lot of things that I had learned in regards to just things that I didn't even know that I needed. And mind you, I've been in therapy for the last year and a half, so that definitely has helped. But I've always been self-introspective. But that process has helped me to like dive deeper and discover more of what I wanted to unpack in my life, so that I could be the version of me that can hold these like dreams and these things that I want, you know, in my life to create and to experience, you know, and also unpack certain things on the list that I have that doesn't even matter to me anymore, right? But yeah, so now I'm like, not to say that process hasn't is complete, but I think a large portion of it is, like in terms of like deconditioning. I'll just give an example. Like one of the things that I had really was a huge breakthrough moment for me last year was like this whole idea, like this sort of like inception, when you plant an idea in the subconscious mind and it flowers up. It kind of reminds me of that movie, was it Emotions or something like that, with all those little different emotions like anger, excitement, you know, all these things. And they like planted these things in her subconscious mind, and those things would like branch up and create different aspects of her character or personality or behavior, right? And so for me, one of those beliefs that like I unpacked last year was the belief that I had to earn love, right? That was huge for me, especially like from male people, like male people, specifically my father. It was like my father wound. And I really did a lot of work to unpack my father wound last year of like believing that I had to earn love, especially from like male validation and male attention and all that stuff. So that was very huge for me. Unpacking that like freed me in so many ways. Like, I can't even begin to do that. That's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother video. So anyways, but yeah, so just going through all of that last year has, I think, laid the groundwork for me to like hit the ground running this year, which I did. But I felt like a lot of stuff in my life were just happening behind the scenes that was sort of gunning for my downfall or destruction or something like that. But I shall persevere. I shall persevere. So anyways, yeah, so that's what I've been going through behind the scenes, and I'm super excited to like get on this like bucket list, and really I'm calling it, the project that I think I'm going to call it is just sort of my Mosaic Souls life project, or just Mosaic Soul life, right? And really just sort of, I want to start documenting like my life, right? So not just like my artistry, but like documenting my life in whatever way or capacity that I feel inspired to. Mainly because I sort of want a visual diary that I can look back on when I'm like 80 or 90 of all the things that I accomplished and or did in my life, you know what I mean? And it's a way of for me to like, not prove to myself, but it's sort of like, yeah, it's sort of like a visual diary, as well as sort of like a, memoir, I guess, autobiography, but in real time of the things that I do with my life, and the discovery, of my life that I want to create, So that's been the latest development that I've been super excited about. So one of the things I was saying is like creating a bucket list wasn't new for me. And watching the Life List movie that I saw on Netflix was such a reminder of that. Because I think I had to create one when I first entered in life coaching. Like I had hired a life coach when I was like 21. So mind you, I've been in and out of coaching since my early 20s. And I hired my first life coach. I think the program was like $1,500. Okay. And then that was a lot of money back then, especially for a 21-year-old non-graduate at the time. I hadn't graduated college yet. But I remember one of the assignments that they made us do was to create a bucket list for your life. And so coming full circle now, at the age that I'm at right now, it's like watching the Life List was like oh yeah, I want to do this. Like I created my life list last year, and I haven't really done anything on it outside of getting into art and stuff like that. And so mind you, this is a life list, not what I'm going to do in a year, but like what am I going to do over the next 50, 60 years, you know what I mean? And so it's exciting to like have finally like, embarked on that journey and like revisited something that was my intention to do in the first place. And so yeah, that is what my latest development that I've been working on and that I'm super excited about. Sitting here trying to find. So one of the things is I realized that I don't just want to build a business, right? Out loud. I don't just want to chase goals or survive or work endlessly. I want to build a beautiful life. And that's really the goal here. So I'm sitting. And that's really the intention behind the Mosaic Soul Life project. A life filled with art, music, movement, travel, love, nature, storytelling, creativity, exploration, healing, wonder, and becoming. A life where I actually live, right? So a while ago, after watching the Life List, I created my own version, right? A list of dreams, hopes, goals, intentions, experiences, creations, adventures, and moments I want to experience in this lifetime. And instead of waiting until I've made it, right, I want to start living those things now. So this is really the beginning of the Mosaic Soul life, right? Not a perfect life, not a curated life, not a productivity challenge, just a real life devoted to becoming more fully alive. And I really want to document that journey here, right? The art, the music, the travels, the fears, the growth, the awkward beginnings, the beauty, the humanity, and the evolution. Because maybe the point of life isn't just success, maybe it's really aliveness. And that honestly feels very aligned with where I'm at right now. And it also reminds me of this movie that just popped in my mind, Soul. And it's the story of this jazz brother who, ends up dying, and and his soul goes into, the soul world, and he's like trying to figure out how to get back to earth so that he can live out his dream of, finally playing and making it as a jazz musician. He's like a jazz pianist and stuff like that. And it's this like beautiful evolution and journey of that. And like I love like the ending scenes when he like finally discovers what the point and purpose of life was, which is not just, oh, I achieved this thing called I became a famous jazz musician. It's like, no, all of the small moments, the moments of really having connection with loved ones, of being in awe and wonder of nature, of having that connection with your pets, of, those small moments that we tend to like overlook and feels overshadowed by our, constant productivity and busyness of life, the westernized like indoctrination that we've been indoctrinated into. And I just really want to embrace more of like my life, and living and feeling alive and feeling whole and feeling complete with it all, and being excited about the small things and really documenting my Mosaic soul journey, because I feel like it just brings me joy, even just this last day or two that I've just been sitting at my house and like sitting on the couch or sitting in my bed and watching movies and doing nothing. And I'm like, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do over the last couple of days. And I just felt like doing a whole bunch of nothing. And it just felt so good to do nothing. Like, oh my goodness. And, and I have let go of guilt tied to productivity, because I realize that that's also a program. Definitely, if that doesn't resonate, I definitely encourage you to read Rest is Resistance. Now, I got this way before reading this book, but it was definitely, I think she articulates it in such a good and succinct way of Trisha Hershey, of why we need to start embracing rest, especially as a person of color. Because a lot of times we have been programmed to believe that our worth is in our productivity and what we produce for society, and seeing that our nation, if you are from the United States watching this, understanding that this is the world that I grew up in, our history as a nation has been brought on back and built on the backs and the blood, sweat, and tears of people of color. And part of us even arriving here or being here or, in the whole trade of, human capital and human labor, our whole purpose was to bring in about productivity and bring about produce for, a whole, the slave trade industry. And so when you realize all of that is rooted, a lot of our productivity or Black excellence and all this stuff, and I don't want to just say Black excellence is rooted in that, because I feel like Blackness as a whole has that's a whole nother topic. We're not going to go down that topic. But anyways, once you realize that they are intricately linked, you start to recognize and unpack for yourself why rest is so important, why living your life is so important, why doing things and like joy is so important. And it is like it's called Rest is Resistance. It is a form of resistance. It's of like reclaiming yourself. And so I had these realizations a long time ago, which is why I've always been someone who has been slow going in terms of my goals and dreams, because I'm like, well, I plan on being here until I'm like 100. So, I got the 70 years when I was in my 20s, 70 years to figure it out, So, but yeah, so it's this process of like really turning the corner and recognizing that life isn't always about how much money you can make or, what's the next accolade you can achieve. And it's not to say that those things aren't important, but it's like, at the end of the day, when you're on your deathbed, right? Like, and you've accumulated all the things, can you honestly say that you really truly lived, right? Versus doing all these things in order to prove yourself to someone. A lot of times we have all these unpacked traumas, right? Of like trying to achieve certain things, or like, especially as a high achiever, we have a tendency to want to prove our worth, And I don't think any of my creativity comes from that place anymore, because I've unpacked a lot of that stuff over the last damn near 20 years. But I've had to watch that within myself, because I remember feeling that. Like, I remember seeing a lot of my friends at the time in my 20s be in that energy. And because I had a spiritual awakening at such a young age in my 20s, early 20s, late teens, early 20s, I didn't really start in my 20s hitting the ground running in terms of like trying to achieve so much. So most of my 20s was me unpacking and unraveling what it means to be human, you know what I mean? And then now that I'm in my 30s, which I had dedicated to me traveling, and then COVID hit, and then I hadn't really done any much because of COVID, and I haven't really fully recovered from that. Now that I'm getting back into this state of like, okay, what do you want to do for the rest of your life kind of energy? And I've been unpacking a lot of my own limiting beliefs and things that I've inherited from being in this nation and being in this body. Now I'm back into this place of being like, okay, like a child, a kid in a candy store being like, okay, what do I want to try out next? What flavor of life do I want to try out next? And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I'm super excited about it, and excited to bring you guys along with me on this journey. So that is all I wanted to share. And yeah, so this is, I guess, the beginning of my Mosaic Soul Life project. And yeah, not much else to say. So if you flow with this, content, definitely follow this series. This is going to be one of many videos over the next however long I'm alive. And yeah, I'm excited to bring you guys along with me on this journey. Thanks so much for following and supporting your girl thus far. And I hope you guys are well. Peace, love, and light. If you resonate with this video and my work, then consider becoming a patron at mosaicsoulsworld.com. Thanks to my current patrons, and I hope to see you guys on the inside. Catch you next week. Peace, love, and light.